You know, the beautiful thing about this neighborhood is that it has such a deep and long-running history. Just not Upshur Street. There are some iconic things that were in this neighborhood. There was a carryout on the corner of Georgia Avenue and Shepherd called Goins Carryout. It was a mainstay not only in this neighborhood but throughout the city. People would come all around to go to Miss Goins Carryout. There was Mr. Pete's store right here, convenience store right here.
You have to mention her mumble sauce.
Yeah.
The original mumble sauce from Washington, D.C.
At Goins Carryout. So the transformation of the neighborhood, it's good, but I'm also important is that we remember where it came from, how it started. You know, we have been friends for over 50 years. Not very seldom do you find a community of friends that have stuck together for more than 50 years. So we come back every year to celebrate this. This is the first year we've been down to the Pepperworth Festival, but our community group is the Pepperworth Reunion Committee. We meet every year to put on some type of event to bring back some of the old people from the neighborhood so we can still see some of our old friends. And we still do see, as you see, people walking by waving at us because they remember us when we were kids. All right, we've grown up in this neighborhood, and we still love Pepperworth.
How'd you all three meet?
I live one door from him.
And he lived around the corner.
Around the corner.
And actually, I was friends with his younger brother. You know, they were friends with my older brother. And all went to Pepperworth.
Yep.
Like, all walked to school in the morning. We would patrols, you know, social events. We even had a block club
Yes,
on Shepherd Street.
My mother started that block club. Jacqueline Daniel. His mom, his mother, they got us together, and we used to have trips.
That's right.
And go to Hershey Park and stuff like that. That this is gonna blow your mind. One day, we had like 3 buses going to Hershey Park, okay? All the kids from the other neighborhoods started coming down to greet us to go off. Miss Kelly and my mom and Miss Thomas, his mother, said we need to get more buses. At that time, my mother made a phone call, called a couple of guys. Back then, there was bootleggers and stuff. I'm gonna tell you what it was. You know, number writers. They came down, went up there. It was Roy Chuck, DC Transit.
DC Transit.
They went up there, got 3 more buses. The first black operator for DC Transit was Mr. Slate. He drove the Georgia Avenue line. That was back in the 60s. And everybody knew him. That was something remarkable there. And they took our families, most of the women was involved. They took care of the neighborhood. It wasn't that, you know, if you did something bad, like Truck was saying, any parent can whoop you, wasn't nothing said. And nowadays, they gotta take the parent to the police station and do all this stuff. Back then, any parent that saw you doing something wrong had the right to tear that butt up. Period, you know. And so, a lot of kids and parents got away from that. But go ahead, Reggie.
But the other thing I wanted to point out that there are still some families that were here from the 50s and the 60s. The Michael's family, the Vanessons, the McCones who live on Shepherd Street. There's the Harris family who lives up on Upshur Street. The White family, the Tates, the Max. And there are still a few families that were here when we grew up as kids. So there's still some connections to the neighborhood. You know, I love to see what's happening, but I'm just also concerned that we don't forget how we got here. And that's what our committee is all about. Just bringing back the people, you know, and we encourage everybody. We encourage anybody to join our committee. We're not exclusive, we're all inclusive. You know, we've met some new members of this community who have seen us on Facebook and asked us who we are, okay? They came to our cookout 2 weeks ago. So we encourage everybody because we want to keep the theme of Pepperworth alive. You know, we don't want to think that it started yesterday. It started a long time ago.
Earlier you were telling me the story about the rec center. I wonder if, obviously that was one of the first things you said, and it's obviously a significant story. I wonder if you might tell us further detail about that.
Man, the rec center.
The vacant lot.
There were houses there back when my grandmother brought me down. It used to be a supermarket at the end of the rec center, and those were Safeway. It were houses there. The houses went away and it became a dirt lot. we used to play on that dirt lot as kids. In the 60s, and I want to say in the mid to late 60s, after the riots, is when they built the first recreation center. Okay, there used to be, where that flat surface is there, it used to be a hill.
Big hill.
We used to play football on the hill. So the recreation center came about as a means of having somewhere for us to go play that would be a uniform place under some type of supervision, and that's how the recreation started. Okay, that building that you see there, that's like the third building. Okay, because the first it was just one little brick building that was there on the recreation center, and it was a place where all of us could go, you know, and hang out and play. And like the high store right here on the corner, that was where we would go get our beverages and stuff like that. You know, there's been so many transformations of this neighborhood to show respect that it's kind of hard when you come by. It's kind of hard to say, "Wow, I remember playing there as a kid," you know. So that's kind of how the recreation center came about.
And we used to go to Mr. Frank's around the corner by the alley and get candy, 2 for a penny.
2 for a penny.
And then if you didn't have no money, he would mash you off or give you something, you know, till you come back. There was a store on 7th Street. Used to be called the DGS.
The
before
DGS.
Jack's
Got
got
it. Yeah.
All right. Those folks there, they used to have meat. They took care of the neighborhood. They were Jewish people. They took care of the neighborhood. You didn't have to have no money, and they would give you something, and your parents were paying back maybe at the end of the month or whenever they got. When the riots came, their stores don't get burned. Nothing wasn't looted or none of that, because they had a guy named Mr. Tommy. He used to deliver the food to everybody's house, and then you would sign a piece of paper, and that was your bill. It used to be back in the 60s, I was probably about 8, 9 years old, they used to have an ice truck that came through here. Guys would come through on a wagon and brought in blocks of ice. The TV used to cost you $0.25. $0.25, it's like I was probably 7 or 8, and the guys would come around, and my grandmother and them, they used to sign a waiver or whatever it was. They used to sign something. You put $0.25 in the TV machine, and it was always black and white. You all run around putting aluminum foil on their antennas, and if you wanted to get color, we would come down here to the hardware store. The hardware store had a film. It was yellow, blue, and green. You would stick that on the face of the black and white TV.
And that's how you got color.
And that's how you got color. And the whole neighborhood around here had that type of TV. Everybody had an insurance company man. It wasn't nothing online. The insurance man would come to your house once a month and you pay him for your health insurance or whatever type of insurance. And you could tell him because he always drove a Cadillac. You know, he had the biggest car, but that's the way it was back then.
And like going back to what you were saying, it was a tight-knit neighborhood, you know, like with the insurance man, with the MPD, the police officer, the fire station. I mean, we knew everybody, you know, the detectives in the neighborhood, you know, the officers from the school, Officer Pittman. I mean, we go on and on. I mean, that's how tight-knit this neighborhood was. You couldn't do anything about somebody else knowing.